IntelliJ IDEA has a powerful set of Java debugging tools, and Android Studio inherits all of those tools. I'll show you how to use breakpoints, watch variables, and step through code. You can follow along in any Android app. First of all, I'm going to go to my current activities layout file. I'll use the related file link and choose activity-main.xml. This layout has a button, and I'm going to add a method that's called when the user clicks or touches the button. I'll use the click handler attribute of the button element to do this. I'll make a new line and type click, and then choose the onClick attribute. Now I can name the method that's going to be called anything I want. I'll name it clickHandler. Notice that the little light bulb icon appears. That tells me there's a quick fix available. And I'll press Alt-Enter and choose Create clickHandler in List Activity. And that automatically creates the right signature for the method that I want to call. Now I'm going to add a for loop that I can step through as I debug my app. To create the for loop, I'll use a code template. This is another feature of IntelliJ IDEA and Android Studio. To get to a code template, press Ctrl-J on Windows or Command-J on Mac, and you'll see a list of all the available built-in code templates. Each code template has an abbreviation and a description. You can simply select the code template you want, but once you know the code template abbreviations, you can use them more quickly by typing the abbreviation and then pressing that same keyboard shortcut. I'll press Ctrl-J, and again on Mac, press Command-J, and I'll choose the for I template. That creates a standard for loop with a counter variable. Notice the squiggly line. That's telling me there's some missing code. I'll press Tab, and the cursor lands in that location, and I'll add a literal numeric value. And now I'll loop through this code 10 times. I'll press Tab again. I'm going to take this bit of code that's calling the log class, and I'll copy and paste it into place. Then I'll change the literal string to iteration, and I'll append to that string the current counter variable, I. Now I'm ready for some actual debugging. To break your execution, add a breakpoint. You can do that by simply clicking in the gutter next to the line of code that you want to stop on. That adds the breakpoint icon in the gutter, and you'll also see the highlight color appear on that line. I'll save my changes, and now I'm ready to debug. You must run your app in debug mode to use the breakpoints. I'll switch over to the emulator and make sure the app is closed and that I'm starting at the home screen. Then I'll come back to Android Studio, and I'll click the debug icon on the toolbar. You can also get to that feature by going to the menu and selecting Run, Debug, or pressing the associated keyboard shortcut. It takes a moment to launch the app, but once it's running, you can go to the emulator or your physical device and click the button. And that will jump to the breakpoint in the code. Going back to Android Studio, you'll see this blue highlight appear, and that signifies the current execution point. Down at the bottom, you'll see an indicator of where you are in your code. I'm in the click handler method at line 61. And you'll also see all of the currently scoped variables. This refers to the current instance of the current activity. And you'll see all of the member fields, including the ones that you declared and the ones that are declared in the superclasses. You can also add watch variables. For example, as I iterate through the code, I'd like to watch this variable I. So I'll select it, then I'll right-click, and I'll select Add to Watches. And that adds the watch variable in the lower right corner. Now I'm ready to step through my code. The stepping tools are here in the debug window. You can step over the current method call, step into, use a function called force step into, and step out. You can also use the tools over on the right to resume the program and stop debugging. I'm going to use the Step Over tool first. When I click it, notice the point of execution goes to the for loop, and the value of I in the watch window is still 0. I'll step over again, and now I go back into the for loop, and the value of I has incremented to 1. Next, I'll use the Resume Program tool. I'll click that button, and I land on the call to the log class again, but in my watch window, I has incremented to 2, and I'll click it again, and it's incremented to 3. Now I'll modify my breakpoint to make it conditional. I'll right-click on the breakpoint icon, and I'll set my condition to I == 8. And now the breakpoint will only be respected if that condition is true. I'll click Done, and this time I'll press the keyboard shortcut that's associated with Resume Program. That's F9. And now look at the Watches window, and you'll see that we've kept on executing the code until that condition was true. When you're finished debugging, click the Stop button, and you'll see in the Variables view that you're disconnected from the target. And to clear your breakpoint, just click the icon again. So those are some tips about getting started with the Android Studio Debugger. Again, it's based on what's available with IntelliJ IDEA, which already had a powerful Java debugging capability. Android Studio inherits those abilities and lets you debug your applications quickly and easily.